I think when you have a vocalist as powerful as HAYLA, having the vocal carry the melody, and then all my melodies that I've been adding in all complement the vocal. Feel it now. What's up? This is John Summit, and I'm going to take you behind the song Shiver with HAYLA.
Can you feel it now?
So this song is basically the sequel or the follow-up to Where You Are with HAYLA. Of course, Shivers with HAYLA. Where You Are was really the song that kind of put us on the map internationally, and we knew we wanted to do something kind of similar but different and kind of take it to the next level. It started with just piano chords, and then from there kind of produced it into a full-on festival hit. This was the opening to my Madison Square Garden set. This was the first time I teased the record was when I announced MSG, which was like kind of the biggest show of my career to date, really. Is the most effort I've ever put in anything. It was something that I never thought would have been absolutely possible. So I think the lyrics in this song are very inspirational and hopeful that I thought really set the tone of the whole set and showcasing the Comfort and Chaos show, which is my new album. When I first started making music, I usually just started with the drop. That was before I was working with any vocalists. I would actually make the demos and then send out to vocalists for them to like hear and see if I could get a vocal on a record. But now, because I've already been writing with HAYLA for a couple years now, we could actually just start from the studio, start from scratch. This is just a super simple chord progression pattern I have here. And so this is what I'll come to the studio with. It's just like an idea, a loop like this, maybe some pads or something on top. But then HAYLA can simply sing over this. Usually it'll be just like humming along and then writing lyrics to it. Here's the vocal.
In the darkness, collide in the night.
So this is the initial song idea.
I was heartless until my soul came to life.
But then you just add this vocal rack on, which is the EQ, multiband, delay, and reverb.
In the darkness, collide in the night.
In typical HAYLA fashion, she's completely belting it out. So when she has that much energy and belting that much, you know, I feel like the crowds receive with that much energy too. And I think that's why my shows have been getting so crazy. What makes HAYLA so amazing is that she really knows how to do a verse into a chorus, into a really like drop hook. So the original recording, it was just like, you make me shiver. And then it was just the drop with no vocal. I think when you have a vocalist as powerful as HAYLA, having the vocal carry the melody, and then all my melodies that I've been adding in all complement the vocal. Feel it now. And then from there, I'll start adding additional melodies on top. What I normally do is I'll have like a big respace come in, which this is like what really grabs the audience and crowd because there's so much thick low into it. So this just follows the same exact pattern as the chord. It's just the root note. So I pretty much have a respace in all of my songs, whether it's the breakdown or intro. So this is how it originally sounds. There's a bunch of reverb and delay on it, so all you gotta do is take off the reverb delay, lower the cutoff, and you pretty much have a full-on respace. It's sick. But also the low end gets very wide, which you don't want. So I usually just do bass mono, which makes everything below 120 hertz mono. You can put that up to 200 hertz. My music with HAYLA is very trance influenced because when I think of like festival anthems, like that got me into music, I think of like DJ Tiesto, Delirium in Silence, and like I think it's super euphoric, especially for big crowds, and it really evokes emotion. So here, I have this simple 2-3 note pattern that follows this chord pattern that we began with. I had to incorporate one element that I used from Where You Are because I do think it was like a kind of a proper sequel track where I don't want to ditch old sounds. So here's it by itself. It's basically this big horn synth that was made in Diva. Diva is my favorite VST like synthesizer because it's the most analog sounding and you have the most control. I have this stutter lead that goes throughout. And additionally, I have this arp. all these melodies go together, so that's how I know it's not too much. So for the drums, this is a kick I've been using on basically every song since Deep End, besides like my more techno records. But the way I differentiate them, doesn't have too much of a top here. It gives it a little bit of character. I, of course, add a clap. Add a shaker on top. This is the shaker loop I have. Add a couple top loops. And then I got some big splashy 909 hats. I add some rides on top to really fill up the highs. If it was literally just the vocal and the drums, it would be like this.
Can you feel it now? Want this forever?
I'll go into the bass line. I have a low layer of bass right here. And you can see that through it in span here. I have a more kind of higher mid layer. And then this one kind of fills up this frequency a little bit more. All together like this. The rolling bass line is more of a mid bass line that it needed this kind of pumping sub to it. So technically that could just go with the kick by itself. And then I have another mid bass here. These are just 3 different diva patches. It's pretty much just straight up called rolling bass for each single one. So all the basses together, they look something like this. And then that one epic lead that we made earlier. Something I've been getting really cinematic with my music lately is I've been doing a lot of strings, and this is through Nexus, which I've really been loving lately. And this is just literally one of the presets of like the strings, and this is called Hollywood Violins. Yeah, but if you notice that nothing's perfectly on the grid, especially when ending, it gives it just that little live touch. This basically more or less is the final mix down. What I'll do from here is I'll export everything and like really clean it up and then put it in groups. So like drums, bass, and then kind of get really detailed with like the EQ and stuff. Because then from here, you gotta listen to multiple different sound sources, like in the studio, at a club, inside a car, and all of that. So it's all tinkering. And then I've been using this same master chain since I did YouTube tutorials back in 2020. It's simple EQ. I'll bring down the low end because I think the low end's a little hard on this. But I saturate, add a little bit of compression, and then the limiter. I'll make sure it just doesn't go past -6. Why is that my rule? I don't know, I got told that when I was younger and I've been going with it since and it's been working. I don't know if I'm the right guy to ask about mixing and mastering because my whole thought process with that is just keep tinkering until it sounds right. All mastering is making things louder. I don't know, it's another situation, you can't put lipstick on a pig. So if you add a masking chain and it sounds like shit, your mix sounds like shit. So I guess rule number 1 is make sure it sounds good on a crappy speaker. And then eventually I think you finish on like a nice sound treated room. I was an accountant while DJing on the side and never imagined that I would be full-time DJ producer traveling the world playing all these big parties and festivals. The lyrics really reflect that too because I really do want this forever. It's a crazy fucking lifestyle and I really do thrive in it.